I'm delighted today to be joined by Lexs Sokolin, who's the head economist, decentralized protocols at Consensus. Thanks for taking the time to join us today, Lex.
Happy to.
Can we just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. So I'm on the very frontier of fintech, and my journey's taken me from Wall Street in investment management at Lehman Brothers, Barclays, and Deutsche Bank to fintech and robo-advice, where I founded my own company back in 2010 called Nest Egg Wealth, which became a wealth tech platform called Advisor Engine and eventually sold to Franklin Templeton. And then out of that, I spent a bit of time in equity research trying to figure out what is the next frontier. Is it artificial intelligence? Is it neobanks? Is it AR, VR? Is it digital transformation or some other frontier theme? And landed on blockchain and crypto, which led me to my adventure at Consensus, where I run the fintech product vertical, both on the institutional and direct side, as well as the fun decentralized finance and NFT and sort of crypto native stuff, where I design token economies and think through what the DNA of an economy really will be in a couple of years' time.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. I just wanted to share my screen and just talk to you a little bit about the report that we recently featured you in. So Analytica produced a lot of these kind of who's who reports, and we did one on the subject of fintech, influential voices and brands in fintech. And we put you in the industry key opinion leaders section on page 10. Here you are here. Did you first hear about this report via Analytica, or was there any sort of buzz about it that you heard on social media? I think we tweeted you about it originally.
Yeah, there was the tag, but then also a number of folks on this list I'm in pretty close contact with. It's a small world and a close network. So I saw a couple of shares pop up across different people here, and that's how it floated into the horizon.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so yeah, well done for featuring on this report. I mean, there's obviously great company to be in, the likes of Chris Skinner, and yeah, some fantastic people on here. I just also wanted to quickly talk about your profile in the Analytica platform. So this is our platform. This is the platform that brands who pay to use our software see. As I can see, you've also created your own My Analytica profile, which is great. That's populated here with some of the things that you've written on your profile. Yeah, so it's got your bio as it appears on Twitter. We've got you tagged as working in the technology and finance industry, and your roles are author and creative professional and industry practitioner based in the United States. And we've got links to your Twitter and LinkedIn here, and here's your audience size, engagement, and authority scores. And then as an overview, this is the information that you've filled out on your My Analytica platform. We've got your About Me, and we've got your services offered, and your fees, and your topical expertise, and some featured content that you've uploaded as well here, so people can see the kind of content that you've created or been part of. I just wanted to quickly flip over to the content side. So here we can see some of the keywords that are popping out in the word cloud that you speak about quite a lot. So robo-advisor, smart contracts, insurtech. And yeah, we've got all your tweets here and some of the key hashtags that you use. We've also got some stats for your LinkedIn activity. So you can see how many times you post per month on LinkedIn, and your average reactions per post, average comments. And on this slider, it shows you versus the peer group average. So you're above average on most of these stats here, which is great. Really good engagement. Yeah, so that was a little bit about the report and your profile in the platform.
Sure. So these topics, of course, shift constantly, but I would say the two main ones that I focus on are financial technology from the perspective of distribution. And so that's neobanks or robo-advice or digital investing, and to some extent crypto brokerage is that as well, right? So how do you put financial products into your phone if you were to be reductive? And then the second thing that I look a lot at is decentralized finance, and that's financial products that are manufactured, that are built on blockchain-based systems like Ethereum and other computational blockchains. And so it's distribution and manufacturing of financial products, but using tools that are not 50 years old, that are modern, And so I'd say that's most of my focus. And then I spend the remainder on sort of a combination of frontier themes, whether it's AI or AR, VR as applied to finance. And then also kind of switching that over to stories about generational change and media, so NFTs, art, community. I'd say those are embellishments in a conversation around finance, but they're the lens.
Wow, fantastic.
I've self-radicalized fairly strongly in terms of seeing that blockchain-based economies are really powerful. And so that's everything from how do you have an interest-bearing account, a cash equivalent account? How do you have a trading engine that's based on mainnet, Ethereum, or a blockchain? But then also, what are people doing in these ecosystems? What are the interactions they're playing? What are the social networks they're creating? What are the games, whether financial or for entertainment, that they're participating in? And so for me, I think there's a ton of progress in that space in building out new ecosystems with new architecture. Spoiler alert, I'm biased about Metamask. Metamask is a consensus product, but Metamask, for example, recently got to 10 million monthly average users off of a base of about 250,000 a year and a half ago. So seeing that progression is really powerful, in these digital wallets. And so things like Metamask and then protocols like Compound and Aave, let's say Uniswap, that's where the edge is for decentralized finance. And then for non-fungible tokens, it's places like OpenSea or Rarible, and a variety of others. And so there's a lot of interesting activity there. I still talk quite a bit about the economics of the last wave of fintech. So things like the economics of Square or Robinhood or Chime, and what are the mechanics? How do these companies make money? Are they valued fairly? I spent a lot of time trying to connect the dots there and then bring it back into the future a little bit outside of just a traditional equity research perspective. And so I think there's a ton of really interesting things going on with the consumer fintech apps, like the ones I mentioned, Chime, Square, certainly PayPal. But I don't see these companies as on the leading edge anymore. I see them more as cash cows that are taking over from banks, but not necessarily yet at the expansion of the technology that's happening. I mean, COVID just took us forward about 10 years on the adoption curve. And the adoption curve only goes one way. You don't readopt horses once you have cars, no matter how many regulators would like you to ride a horse in an orderly way. And so I'd say COVID, obviously a tragedy in many respects, but from the perspective of digital finance, it just accelerated things about a decade, I think. Wow. Which is kind of very fruitful for electronic models. You can see this also with e-commerce and Amazon, right? It's massive prospering of e-commerce sites. And so similarly, the same thing happened with finance and with the habits that people have built as a result.
Yeah, because I guess everyone was forced to go online. People who would normally go to banks forced to do things in other ways. So there were people learning skills.
Yeah. I never want to touch a cash from an ATM again. It's gross. Yeah. It's literally gross.
I agree. I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm a visual artist by practice, both in sketching and drawing and design, as well as using software to make art. And so for me, this is a really exciting moment because these two things that are very far apart, finance and a visual practice, have strangely enough combined, where software-based art is now called an NFT and is being distributed on blockchain-based networks through auction houses and financial protocols. And so it's a really exciting time. I try to make myself easy to find. So either my website, Sokolin.com, there's a contact us form, or you can check out my newsletter site, Fintech Blueprint, which also has a contact us form.
Brilliant. Well, that's it from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been really interesting talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.